let's get right back into the first case. I think we're close to actually catching the real killer, but I don't know what else they're gonna throw my way. Let's go pull up the history just so I can figure out what's going on. Because I think she just destroyed the bottle, right? Yeah, she destroyed the bottle. Not sure how that doesn't immediately cause suspicion on her, but whatever. Let's see. Remember everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. Okay, so that's where we are. Every color. Is Kazuma right? I'm more in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? No, not at all. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I might have uncovered another clue. You just have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe that smug smile off the Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it could be, the key to arriving at the truth about all of this. It's here somewhere. A clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been. That ketchup sauce. Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about the bottle being smashed. As you said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wondered, therefore, perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day? Wait a minute. Where are you going with this? Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw on that wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a splattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Brett. I beg your pardon? This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something that the accused has apparently just remembered seeing? This could be the moment of my entire career in the police force been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate. In the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. And we'll find for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now. Inspector, court wishes to examine the plate of the victim's table immediately. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered. The steak. Oh, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector. The blood, man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible!
That's not true.
I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. Look at it, unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. That's a bit racist. I couldn't agree more in the case of this disgrace to the Empire. I believe we might have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. Okay, 1 second. Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking excuse wishes to examine it again, be my guest. Okay, the steak has been entered in the court record. Is the plate I thought I saw just a figment of my imagination? This is it now, I've lost. Ryunosuke, it's not over yet, not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of the evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? The bloodstains was going to cinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak really reveal any other clues at all? We can examine it, right? There's nothing under it? Huh? What the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei area, I believe. Oh, I don't mean, what is it? I mean, what's it doing here? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yeah, apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. That just is very valuable. This isn't the first time there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard it's pearl before swine, but I've never heard of bullion in bullion. I don't think you ever will again. It's extraordinary, though. This means... Yeah, because wasn't this the coin from the other table? I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. It's from the Hoei era, too. Quite valuable. All marinated in juices as well, look. What? Aren't you thinking of eating it? No. But the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's gonna be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. A Koban coin underneath the steak. There's only one logical explanation. Okay. Yeah, there is another clue. Your Excellency, please wait. That plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue will reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with this beefsteak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I'll not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, it's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court what you are alluding. Where precisely on the plate of beefsteak is the new clue to be found? It's right here, right? Wait, why is it repeating itself? Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, I actually had to hit present.
Got it!
Good gracious, that's Koban? What on earth? A hairy arrow one at that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beef steak that you ordered at the restaurant the day of the question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what that is. I want no part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? It could just have been a careless mistake by a chef in a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoey Koban just happens to be hidden underneath this piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. That's right, it can't be coincidence. Your Excellency, Miss Counsel, a rare Hoey Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If it turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize it is you who is irrelevant. You know, I'm on the one on trial here. The point is essential we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. The only one person can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is... Kiryu Kiritakata, right?
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antique dealer and owner of Rusutai, Kiryu Kirikata-san. Kiri... as in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. The exact moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interests me not. I was too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoey era Koban, my prized coin. Then this Hoey era Koban, you mean to tell me... No, please. Why would Kurikata-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense. Which is why I'm asking you to bring Kurikata back to the witness stand, so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I can't believe we come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find the key element in this case. What was this all about? I've been called up again. You realize it's dinner time for little baby Ado? My son's belly is empty. He's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom, myself, I became a ruined man in a trice. A worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun is set in this Rusutai shop owner's existence. Be it as it may, Kurikata-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rusutai memory serves, have you ever seen this... Yes, that's it. The one. The very one. The very one that it is. The resplendent, splendiferous Hoey treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means... someone must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoey treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? What an inconceivable act, I think. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. Le Carnaval is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents has been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent undercover, is it? Yes, I took the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at the work at the restaurant on a regular basis. The place is already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid the Kurikata-san's Koban is all too clear. What? What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on the matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Kurikata-san's Koban and hid it under the stake? I mean, it had to be the person next to him, right? Yasunoza?
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Yasunoza. What? How? How dare you? You monster. Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of Le Carnaval, am I? You seriously accusing me of these crimes, Cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido was the mastermind behind all this.
Is that the baby?
Yes, that's the baby. You pushed the blame of your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby. It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Noza.
It's a baby who's been little.
Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Yasunoza, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. What? Do any of you know of the extraordinary low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays to those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently added conflicts remains in place, and I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes? All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. Like he doesn't bother with the knife and fork, even. Which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man in his Koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the stake where I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot, I knew it was, if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido, too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the stake, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it later at a later date. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you can carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett? Of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. Quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentleman please be excused, Your Excellency. Indeed. The thief of the kobold was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It certainly appeared to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding and coiling under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Yeah, well... And as for picking up your stick and biting into it without a knife and fork? It's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now all these questions concerning this witness testimony have been answered. I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. They're forgetting how it ended up on our table. Oh my goodness. Okay. When you foresee the problem before the game is there, and it's really annoying because it's like, okay, if that was the stick she was eating, how did the kobold get there? That's the question that needs to be answered. But the game's like, no, we gotta delay for like 20 minutes. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? There's no time for daydreaming. No, it's just... Something about Miss Brett's parting words got me thinking. I can't work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there's a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. In that case, I'll just stand there thinking, make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Honey, coiling under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of an idea astonishes me. As for picking up your stick and biting into it without a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposes an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it? The steak looks like it's been bitten into. That's the contradiction. Okay, I guess I kind of... This is where it's like, oh, that's the wrong evidence for the other table, right? Because that's not... But I feel like you could have just pointed that out without this part.
Take that!
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed, yes? Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency. The steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishwoman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife or fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. Take a good look at the steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife or fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection!
But what is your actual point? Perhaps... Oh, whatever you say, lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice can't possibly wait any longer. Of course, of course. This will be over in a blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to... I've had enough. Your irritating little spectacle samurai relic. Of course. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implication these teeth marks in the stake have for her. Brynjolfsky, do you know where you're going with this? Yes, now at last it all came together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had all allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that the teeth marked in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe those barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been... what? Well, just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that evidence does not exist. This is absurd. This trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it. I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, we'll solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about the whole affair? It's gonna be Hosonaga, right? Because he should have the other plate?
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoyed chopping my way through a good steak. As well as admitting to stealing Koikata-san's coin, he told her he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Tenshun! Affirmative, of course. I may be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentlelady if she'd mind manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak the detective submitted as evidence was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal. But that makes no sense. The plate was taken from the victim's table. And yet the gentlewoman does not take bites out of her steak. Or did she not have any... Nor did she have an opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. So even such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest... The sergeant switched the two steaks over. You did switch the plates? Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of the eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. And then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet was arrested and taken off the kitchen, I seized my chance. With the military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table. You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It's do or die, I tell you, so yes, I did what had to be done. However, fear not, Persecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform. That is all I did, sir. All you did. That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So, if Sergeant knows a switch the plate's over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence, you had taken both. Uh-oh, she's starting to freak out. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What could that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat? It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
No, you're not wriggling your way out of it. Wow. You're not wiggling your way out of it this time, lady. I beg your pardon? Surely you're not that forgetful. Should you remember the reason why the steak pan promised to prove such a problem for you, no? You're the one who described it as a problem, not me. The reason defense asked to see the plate was confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Thinks he remembers. I'm quite sure what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear splattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further, Inspector. You show the evidence to the court. Present that beefsteak and the plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. God, that music in this game is great. Sorry for keeping you. Here is the other steak in its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. Yep, there's the blood. Bloodstain. It's clearly visible, look.
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. It can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Giselle Brett. It's you. Ready for the best part?
What's the best part?
Freak out time.
Sure, I was gonna go in 2 different directions.
Found by me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no!
Is that literally supposed to be happening, or are little baby chicks running around? Oh.
The long-windedness is worth it just to see them freak out sometimes. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life, using Kyurei. As you surmise, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The Professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison could be found in his water. Because Kyurei is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for long as I did. I only need to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I would place the steak I ordered in front of him to make it appear as if he'd been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in the chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carries a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of Kyurei in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right, there are two guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. A place where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry and that adjoined the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor's chair in his chair around. Because of course, you need to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency. Yes? I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement? This can't be. Takasuchi Aochi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student. Better start getting used to tough opposition. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yes? This insult to the Aochi family name will never be forgotten. If you come conceited with the age council, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget it. Fuck.
Japanese court system's crazy.
1,000 millennia may pass, but still Aochi clan will never measure up to Naruhodo clan. This trial, in the Supreme Court of Japan, will, I believe, go down in history. Oh, wait, is that... Well, I believe go down in history as the start of a new chapter in the country's judicial system. God damn it! Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. Thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its door to the wider world. But the Western's idea of science is rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring up new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new feature of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That's for the young to pursue. Kazuma Azagi. Yes. After this trial, you are set to embark on your journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything for the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, yes? And you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty.
Dun, dun, dun. Yay, where the frick are those pedals coming from?
Remember, this is a military court, so I imagine a bunch of military officers just throwing Sakura pedals all over the
They
place.
have them in their pockets for occasions like this.
Exactly. The court is now adjourned. Can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yumi University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. A trusted judicial assistant. Oh, that's actually interesting now I think about it. Where was that? If I can find it. Yeah, okay, so here it is. Brett actually used our name in San. It wasn't Japanese boy or little boy and all that. That's interesting. Because everyone else has been using those, but she only said it after we actually defeated her. Our trusty judicial assistant, you worked hard for that result too, you know. No, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words really should be for my father. Simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to university and investigate. Your father? Yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Sasato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Mikotoba... there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, an excellent job. Thank you, Professor. Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you, after all. Your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend. Good friend? Oh yeah, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yumi University, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Actually, before I go any further, because they usually do like a... 1 second. Save. I always fuck these up, but they usually like ask a question you gotta present evidence to. I don't know if they're gonna continue that here. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson. Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. You worked together? I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago. Besides... It's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what happens in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear in this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. Japanese man's katana is his soul. His blade shows me where I need to go. It cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I definitely see how sharp it is with my own eyes. That reminds me, what happened to that woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean? After all, she's guilty of murder. Yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all. She'll be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai. When? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country, I'm certain of that. But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosonaga? It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate... What was that about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British council court will hear her case, somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. Why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought council courts were a thing of the past now that we signed the Friendship Treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature... to our respective governments, they can't invoke the consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but that doesn't justify our government making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that's for the young student? Today's trial was nothing more than the game all along. Oh, shit. I need to be careful with that. Okay, so what it said. Nothing more than the game all along. There was never any danger of culprits for her. I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody to Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case for a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 12th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming. We're the ones driving it. Well, I think there's enough seriousness for now. Evening calls for a celebratory drink. Professor, you're right. There's no time for gloomy faces. Oh, we're just gonna drop it like that, okay. It's pretty serious things going on, and we're just gonna be like, no, let's go drink. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Start having some fun. In that case, might I suggest Le Carnival? As a head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about the details for now. We also don't know why he's bleeding all the time. For Le Carnival, you accompany us, Professor? Of course, Le Carnival's food is second to none. I shall go and attend the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Yes, thank you. So Giselle Brett will be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma? Yes, Ryunosuke? I just want to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. You didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? The defense of you was all your own work. Your skill made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. Not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right by the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it. For being a defense lawyer, I mean. Not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through all that ever again. I just did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point? Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe and then stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can be really backed to a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with a precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me. Well, you face seemingly hopeless situations time and again, and you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. What do you say? It's something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. You should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Yes, that too. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. Sasato-san, who acted as my assistant. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. That's it. End of the first chapter. Okay. Let's see. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Give me one moment, and I gotta do one thing, and I will start this up as soon as I get back. at least get started on the second case and see. Don't think we'll be able to do too much more, but we will at least get started.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
9th January, 6:37 a.m. I didn't even get the chance to read that.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
It is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. Ah, we found you. And now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in a tiny wardrobe, Sorry? Now you have been found. It's time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why Why did you take his life? Miss Sasato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in sheep's pelt. You are the killer. I'm not trying to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin. It was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma-san is dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. Two cases in a row where we gotta prove our innocence, huh? That should be fun. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't find it fun. Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? So you somewhere else when you brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we reach the dock in Great Britain. If you can find yourself in my cabin here, I don't expect anyone to discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians would be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do you need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we can confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No. If she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about time the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there. I think it won't be for long. Anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'd be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? That'd be it for you. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write "keep out" or something on a piece of paper? What? Then I could stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We're supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We'd leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Ah, you said before. You said you'd admit everything about your crimes. That's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Sasato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Okay, Kazuma's death. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer. When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt of the door cannot be opened from the outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped within these 4 walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit could only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have any other explanation? That's impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge? Even despite the circumstances? Please, Sasato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. You don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there was no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would have always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I did every day so far on this voyage, but on this morning he did not come. It's since that he won't. Does that mean he was already dead when Sasato-san arrived at the cabin door this one, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-san, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. It's alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Okay, let's hit stowaway. Why are you even on board the ship, Naruhara-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now. I've been shut in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-san's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazama, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since I ended that incredible trial. I think I told you didn't I? That you ought to be a lawyer yourself? Oh yes, you did say that. I didn't think you were serious. You have the talent for it. I can assure you of that. But I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? No, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he is always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought he could do that with you. Maybe. Something's still bothering me a little. That look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Sasato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. By stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Okay, so last night, what happened? If you are not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazama brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself in that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. And after that, Fell asleep? Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If I woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do any... I really don't want to doubt... I really don't want to doubt you, but the trouble is... there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Kazama, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazama was killed right under my nose here. I didn't do anything to stop it. Now I'm supposed to sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. We're going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. What the? That was a Sensato takedown. Sensato what? What martial arts form is that? Oh, that's a bit disorienting, actually. I'm gonna need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I just need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her evidence right now which proves I'm not guilty of a crime. So we got our university collar pin, which I always carry that around. Kazuma would stick this over the doors of the wardrobe for me. It says keep out in Japanese, but I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. Yeah, because wasn't the cutscene, wasn't this on there? How would that get on there if...
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, you think perhaps you could help me up? In light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't underestimate me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Anyway, I should start by investigating in here, examine everything I can. Zoom, I swear, I will avenge your death. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna save. We are going to... Okay, she's got nothing new to converse about. We're gonna explore around the room. Investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, but not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in and out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I can feel it tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw the bolt across from the door outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, it's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using the needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up... Okay. Oh dear, that won't do. What's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself focused that I forget to look around properly. Yes, that's not good. I suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhara-san? I'm sure you're careful to look around using B and M, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Random to do it there. Okay. These are the rules of passage for travel on board the SS Bura. Essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking, are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure, either way, I was supposed to be in here. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well? It's almost as if the whole shelf is ransacked and everything bowed down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-san doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhara-san, in a fit of rage? I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and statue. Do the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? I'll set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Okay, that's been investigated. We have this down here. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever that is, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like the cutest little Natsuki fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It's just like brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. You're right, it has the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Okay. It's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. It's brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes. I see it says "this way up" in Japanese, which in hindsight I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it's less painful than the Susato takedown. Oops. I'm not gonna comment over here. I'm investigating thoroughly. Do these have anything to do with the case, though? Meanwhile, it's a Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy was always a reflection of his heart. And yet, can you really look at these characters without feeling shame, knowing you drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship? Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Maybe we talk to him? Perhaps I should see what that Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. But it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking an investigator for information about his crime. Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. You might have useful information, though. Keep trying. So last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet. Of course not. Back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed to the floor. I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in spillage. Poor Kazuma. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think it's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Okay. This is where dear Kazuma-san would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Kazuma. It looks like the last entry is incomplete, which means what? Fuck, damn it, I can't stop doing that. Which means he was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened. Let's see, it could be a valuable clue. Out of the question. What? Kazuma may have been departed from this world, but you will not read his private thoughts. What if it's something important, something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? So we might get a chance to look at that later. Look at that. Our wardrobe. It's some 2 weeks since we set for Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no? I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own little secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when the method of the crew might come in. So yes, I basically had to live in that wardrobe. And last night was no exception. And because of that, you had no idea what was happening here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Okay, so there's still stuff I gotta look around for, right? I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. The hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must be connected to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to, you're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside? That's true. Perhaps it's so that the rain and spray don't make their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose maybe that's it? Oh, hello. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, he looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I've no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he's like suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me... Do you really not know who that is? Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. Doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. He's investigating Kazuma's desk. Or he's just playing at it. Like, I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I imagining it, or does Sasato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you noticed already, but just in case, if you press space when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Right then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. She's a little overly excited. Go ahead and save. What time is it? Alright. Examine. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings, I hope I haven't kept you long. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Oh, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? I feel like he's looking right through me. Yes, everything is clear now. The train of reason has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently, if I'm not mistaken. God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
I know he's supposed to be Sherlock Holmes, but that's like literally what he says to Watson. He's like, he breaks down and he's a doctor from Afghanistan. God damn it. Sorry, what? And now, whilst venturing forward climbs, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It's really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madame. For example, you fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower? What? And when the beribboned occupant of this cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, aren't you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who killed Kazama-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too? It's shameful behavior, Naruhito-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way... And I get thrown again. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just seeing the first thing that came to your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in the most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Huh, there you have it, you see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you can call it deduction, just plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My methods is founded upon observations of trifles, and you see, I announce my findings with brassy certitude, and more often than not, I'm right.
What, my screen?
Okay, what don't think you've introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inevitable. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes. The very same, the imitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Sir Zoro-san? The most famous detective in the world. Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? I must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? I know I feel uneasy about this. Okay, Sherlock. You're the great detective, huh? So, you're the great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed. I'm none other than the one, the only, Sherlock Holmes. I see. So you're German? Sherlock, was it? No, I have no hair, I see. I have hair. Please call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Yes. Rancet magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interesting articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist of the series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, at this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in... What the fuck was that? Okay, whatever, don't care. The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in a subject. Affirmative glance, a twitch of the muscle, a slight inclination of posture, fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right, and the trained logician can make deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. You can look me in the eye and claim that. So you see, I have returned both for observation and deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and the only Sherlock Holmes? Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. As I see, in other words, I'm in these because of him. When I became anxious about Kazama-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, giving entry... Thank you. Gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. The handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Okay, you're two facts. Mr. Holmes, tell us, please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into the cabin this morning? Yes, but first let's be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts I deduced from the mere momentary glance at the scene were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sloan. What makes you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left of the victim on the floor. I'm not even gonna attempt that one. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. You really think Kazuma-sama would have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling in their heads. But this young man was Russian. Kazuma-sama was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderobe meant to be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least, where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim, in other words, you were acquainted. If my memory serves, that outfit is traditional dress of Russian people. What? Are Russian uniforms a traditional dress of Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for further possible details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazama was already taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. Photograph has been, the crime scene has been entered in the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when I said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing Russia and all that? Yes, that's a train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Again, not even gonna try that one, certainly if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? The now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, there's the other details I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary assassin of 16 part? Oh yes, the more sordid details. It's a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary Velen Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port called Shanghai yesterday. Last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma Russian? It sounds like Mr. Solmes has concluded that he was Russian because of what Kazuma wrote on the floor. It's a simple act of reason to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Velen Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? Don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are fearsome revolutionary, after all. God, this is so stupid. Therefore, you have no doubt to learn to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all his particulars in the article. The deed the man has perpetrated thus far and those that he is planning. Yes, everything about the revolutionary Bolshevik was concluded. There could be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? What about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in the war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is that anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. It's a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. Observe all there is of interest to me within its pages. I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered in the court record. And you may find the article on the back page of the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back, cast your eyes over it sometimes if it interests you. You may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. Couldn't hope to read it. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Well. Before we do anything else, we might as well look at it. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. Me either. No idea what any of it says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of the newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, "Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." And she told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photograph was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. He despises his own bearded degree. He need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. This is interesting. You've found something relevant, Noraharu-san? Well, no, I mean, it might be interesting. Can't read a single word, I'm afraid. Nor can I, but look at that picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know, I can't make sense of it. I'm glad you noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. It pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. A renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It appeared the woman is in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see in the picture, which is worth 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea. I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Sarasato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside himself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. I've requested international assistance in all ports with sailing to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so what were you investigating? Before we start talking, you were examining Mr. Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was taking notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. Something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It's my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know the smattering of Japanese. I see. You're about to know what a Satsudo takedown is. Satsudo-san? Are you not going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san? What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim, it would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author was cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of this writing? Could you be precise Pray be precise as to details. That doesn't read right. That's what's throwing me off. Pray be
precise as to the details.
That's what it says.
Yes, pray be precise as to the details.
That's it, but it doesn't say to the details. It says two details.
Yes, please be precise as to details.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
It doesn't read right.
Here it does. It's usually as to details.
But I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy. A smattering. Sayonara, Banzai, Mikido. Nada, I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated looking characters, which I can read precisely none. So what was that showing off about before then? If you'd be so kind to show me, I'd be happy to read it for you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Kazuma's son's diary consists of just two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the latrice on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin? Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in his diaries have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door where the ventilator connects to. Our detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation, so we crave mental Okay, I might need to just stop here shortly just because I'm losing my ability to read. Okay. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Perhaps we could go with you? No. That'd be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist would reveal the answer. Oh, these? After all, you're the prime suspect in the matter. No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta take care of one small thing. Just go, there we go. Let's see. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway. That was then. This is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly, roll over, and accept your fate. And now he's just being played rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? How about these? After Kazama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you give you any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we have a chance to slip, while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there's still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Thanks to that so-called detective, I'm even more stuck inside this cabin than I was before. For the time being, I suppose I'll just have to focus my efforts on investigating in here. Okay, so there's still stuff I have to find in here. Okay. Actually, you know what? This would probably be a good time for me to stop. I'm barely able to tell what the hell's going on anymore. So yeah, I'll call it there and maybe play a bit more tomorrow.